As business owners, there's nothing more important than understanding your target audience. Like, that's what you need to do to actually make more money and grow your business. So I started this podcast to bring in experts from different industries so we can learn more about their businesses, more about their stories, and the challenges that they actually face, so you can make better pitches that they will actually care about and ultimately help you grow your video business. In today's episode, we talk to Andy from Loop Detailing, and we talk about how his business got started, how they scaled quickly, and what they're focused on as a business. We also talk about what a videographer would need to bring to the table to get him to spend $1,000 a month. I hope you get something out of this video, and don't forget to subscribe. If you did, let's get into it. So I had you come here just so you can clean my car.
Yeah, well, it is dirty and it needs to be cleaned, so
that's the story. Now, obviously, I wanted to have you on because we've known each other for literally ever, and I think it's really cool that we ended up both starting our own businesses, which is pretty rare in a friend group, I feel like. And I want this to be kind of like a threefold conversation, so people get to know what your company is, what you do locally, and like why you're the choice to go to for detailing. Also, to my audience, so videographers and video agency owners know how to talk to business owners in your industry to actually make better offers, and they're not just being super generic and ultimately just not making any money. So for anybody who doesn't know you or Loop, can you tell me a little bit about who you are and what Loop is?
Yeah, my name is Andy Mandrino, as you know. I own Loop Detailing. We're a mobile and shop detailing company that does ceramic coating, paint protection film, window tint, obviously all general detailing and paint correction. Right now we have a shop in Amherst, but we serve the greater Buffalo area, so anywhere that is about 30 minutes away from that shop in Amherst. Been a company 2.5 years now. Things are going really well. Trajectory is good. And I have 3 full-time, 2 part-time employees.
Wow. So it's a lot. And something I think is really, really cool is it kind of started because you bought an S2000.
Yeah.
So tell me about how that went from like, I'm going to buy a car and clean my car to now having this full-fledged business operation in like, what, 2 years? 3 years?
2.5 years, yeah. So the full synopsis is I love detailing in general, always have loved cars. And the first car I had was a 94 Z28, and my dad used to make fun of me saying that I was going to wax the paint off of it because I would wax it every other weekend, which is unnecessary for wax, but I just love taking care of it. So fast forward from that, after I went to college and everything, I got into the tech field. I worked for Yahoo, and I worked in their data center as a data center engineer. So from there, I really was waiting to get a car that I wanted to have. So me and the wife, we just built a house, and money was tied up, but like I managed to make it work, making enough money at Yahoo to get a fun sidecar, or at least I thought. So I've always liked Honda, Acura, and I decided that a Honda S2000 was in my price range. So I bought a 2004. It's an AP2 is what it's denoted as for its certain engine model. And quickly after I realized, like, hey, I want to pay down that loan faster. I don't want a loan looming over me. So I decided, I really like detailing. I can detail on the side, probably make a little bit of money. Maybe detailed like 3 or 4 friends' cars. And then I was approached with an opportunity from my wife's, CEO and COO of her company, that they're looking to invest in a mobile detailing company because it used to be something that came to their business, worked outside, detailed in their parking lot, and they really loved the idea, and they were wondering if it was something that I would be open to trying to run for them. So naturally, I said I would be interested. I wanted to get into the higher end stuff, not just general detailing. I want to do ceramic coating, paint protection film, window tint eventually. So we all agreed, and that's basically how it started.
I believe I was one of those friends' cars.
Yes.
My WRX. That
yes.
was
12-hour job, I believe.
One of the most filthy vehicles ever.
He had like failed brakes, so the brake dust on it was almost like a 1/4 inch thick, and used up all of my iron remover just on his vehicle in itself. But it turned out really good, and that's actually, I think, the first video on Loop's Instagram.
Yeah, you got a video out of it, right?
Well, that's just it. You actually got to flex your like video skills too. It was a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
We got something from each other on it. So.
Yeah. So from going from I'm going to make a little bit of side money to pay off this car to what was it? What was like the process like? Did you guys started with just mobile, right?
Yeah.
And then you went to getting a shop. So what was that like process like, or what was the decision making process of going like, hey, we're gonna do mobile. Now we're gonna go to a shop. But what was that journey like?
Yeah. So the early start of Loop, I actually was still at Yahoo and I worked there for about 6 months while I found a number one. So I found someone who I trusted to run the company while I was, working my other job because 9 to 5, I had to be somewhere else basically. Um, we just started out mobile because that's a good way to test the waters. It was July and it was like in the middle of the season. We knew we only had about 4 months or so that we could really try to make this work and to see if like the market was there for it. So we grabbed a van and then just, I populated it at my house with just the tools I had and we just made something work. So we could do everything, wash, interior, exteriors, everything we could do with just that vehicle in the middle of a parking lot. So we don't need customer water, power, anything. And that went well for the first few months. It was just like getting your name out there and getting people to trust you was the hardest part because you're brand new. A lot of people, what they do in detailing is they build from just detailing at their house with friends, families, cars, and then eventually those people tell other people and you scale up that way organically. We kind of did the other way where we just kind of got into the market. My client base was like 3 people, so no one knew me. Like I had no chance of just, you know, having all these clients I can rely on to get the company springboarded past that. So we had to just do marketing and everything, which we just, focused on SEO right away, right out of the gate, building a nice website. And then I quickly realized, obviously, as it was getting colder, it was like October time, we need a shop because I was filling the water truck out of my house. I was having the guys come to my house to get all the chemicals and products and to grab the van. And I didn't want my van sitting out in front of my house really that much. I couldn't get it in the garage, it was too tall. And then there was just a lot of things like I didn't want them, having to go to my house every day, which was out of their way in Hamburg to go to a job, let's say in Amherst or something, where I think the majority of our work was at the time. So it was a necessity. So we went around looking for a building for a while. The problem with finding a building to do detailing out of is you have to have a drain that has an oil water separator that can do a certain amount of gallons. And that is something you can't build in a lot of areas. So you literally have to find a place that already has it built so it doesn't have to pass that code. It's like already there. It's a structure. So we found a place that actually was an old auto sales place, like Ontario Sales or Amherst Auto. It's been known a few names. Had the water separator already in it. It was in a shop with a bunch of lifts in it that were tore out, 2-bay garage, and it was pretty much what we needed to do to start the operation. And I mean, I knew right from there that's the only way that I could do these higher end services too. I can't really do that stuff mobile super efficiently. So that was October 22, and then everything else is grown from there.
Wow. Yeah, I think a lot of people, like you said, start in the garage, maybe then go to mobile and then get a shop down the road. You guys kind of went like ass first
Yeah,
and started with like all the
wasn't
big
easy.
stuff, which is like really cool. You had the resources to do that because you're able to scale up your services and do those higher end jobs and also be a little bit more year round and be able to take care of people year round versus just mobile or someone who has like a really small space where maybe they're parking their cars in the garage. Um, so what, this is kind of a two-part question. So why detailing, or why would start a detailing business when other things like Delta Sonics are available? And why would someone want their car detailed versus going to like a Delta Sonic or the tunnel washes?
A company like Delta Sonic, I would almost consider a necessary evil because what's worse than a dirty car is rust. So corrosion, stuff like that. The longer stuff sits on your paint, the worse it is. So marring and stuff like that, yes, it's unsightly, especially on darker colored cars. It looks junky, and that will happen if you go through a Delta Sonic or any kind of tunnel wash enough times, or even one time, depends how soft the paint is. The difference really is nothing that your car will drive through, get sprayed, even touched at the slightest, like they do at the end when they dry it. It's not going to get nearly as clean as being detailed. One thing to always pay attention to is like wheels. Wheels are never going to get effectively cleaned from a drive-through car wash. Even if they have agitation brushes, they're hitting the face of it real quick and moving on. And they're doing it for a bunch of different size wheels. So they're not doing exact. They're leaving a bunch of crap, especially on the barrels, in the lug nuts and everything like that. And it's like, it's a quick job to get the junk off, but it's not a detail. Detail is like taking up to like 2 to 3 hours on the exterior just to wash and clean and decon and clay and then put something on a wax, whatever. Um, it's such a different process. And if you don't touch it, if you don't observe what you're cleaning, it's never truly getting fully clean. And then the big thing on these drive-through car washes that I'm seeing a lot of issues with right now for like Teslas and Genesis and some Hyundais is staining on the trim that goes around the window. And that's from chemicals basically not washing off and then going out in the direct sun and then just getting baked into it. So that's like the general thing, the difference between a detailer and, Delta Sonic or even like just a touchless car washes.
So with obviously detailing being a much better experience for anybody who wants a cleaner car, what led you to say, hey, we're going to start a detailing business when there are other detailing businesses in the area? And I got to imagine the public perception is that Delta Sonic's good enough. Like, is that something you're constantly trying to battle against, of like trying to show people the difference and try to shift public perception of what normal car washes are like?
So I would say maybe like a quarter of our customers have been to Delta Sonic at least pretty recently, and they had a poor experience. And that's why they were looking for other avenues. They're like, oh, they cleaned my car, but they left a bunch of stuff and it wasn't a complete detail. And I get that because I actually hire people who've worked at Delta Sonics before, and I know that they are pushed so fast to go through and clean these cars. No one is effectively going to detail a vehicle in the short amount of time that they have to do it. So the detailers themselves, even if they want to do a good job, they don't really have the time to do a good job. And that's kind of the unfortunate part. We focus on efficiencies and doing two-man teams on every vehicle that we detail, which makes it a lot faster of a process. That's like really kind of our goal, is like when we set out to make another company, we're not just a car wash, we're I don't even want to say we're just like your basic detailers. We try to do everything to the full ability, to everything that's on that particular package that you have, and then to have the know-how to do these things efficiently and faster than a lot of other shops. So that's kind of what we prioritize, and that's what I wanted to do. There's a lot of other detailers out there, and there's a lot of great detailers out there, especially in our local market. And I can only speak for ourselves and what our quality is, and I really don't defame other companies, because if they're a general detailer, they do a better job than Delta Sonic. I can tell you that. If they're just a regular detailer, not with a big corporation, they're gonna do a better job.
Hey, real quick, I hope you're enjoying this video. Quick reminder that if you are, to subscribe. Also, if you're a video agency owner looking to scale your business past $10,000 a month, but you're having trouble getting the momentum going, follow me on Instagram and send me a DM with the word scale to learn about working with me directly. And if you happen to be a business in Buffalo, New York, who's looking to up your content game or scale your business using video strategy, send me a DM saying go Bills and we can chat. That kind of touches on like what you feel sets Loop apart, is making sure you're doing the best job possible and not being so concerned about turn and burn. It's quality over quantity. And so what do you feel is like your differentiators in the market?
I mean, I want to compare us like a steakhouse versus McDonald's, where Delta Sonic is more your McDonald's, burn and turn, get as many cars as they can out of there in a day. I've heard that they can even do like 5,000 cars in a day. They can wash 5,000 cars. It's ridiculous. The quality can't be there when you're touching that many cars. And yes, the price is right. And McDonald's, the price is right compared to a steakhouse. But if you were to go to that steakhouse maybe like once every other month or something, or once a month, it's a lot more affordable in that essence than going, obviously, as much as people sometimes go to McDonald's, which they shouldn't, but they do. I want to have a different experience. So I want to be customer focused. I want every customer to have that wow factor when they get their car back or when they see their car. And that's kind of like our big thing, like quality over quantity every time.
Yeah, and you also have the ability to spend more time with each customer, that you might be able to say, hey, you're not like a number in a sense, we're just getting a certain package. You might have someone say, hey, I just noticed that you have this type of something happening to the car, and you can cater the service that each client gets based on them versus just like
Yeah.
next.
Conversations are huge because that's how you set like the expectations. Like I will point at a stain, I will point at a scratch, and then I will just give it a quick look over and then tell them likely this won't come out. This has probably been set in. If it's a stain, probably been there too long now. We can lessen it, lighten it up, make it look better, even out the whole fabric so it looks nice. For scratches, I can tell how deep they are. This is going to need paint. I can make it improved, but I can't remove it because you're not really removing scratches. You're bringing the clear coat down to the level of the scratch. So there's like less original OEM paint, which devalues a car if it's been repainted. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
I feel like a lot of people think that getting your car detailed is for people who have just super nice cars. But I know that's not the case. My car's not super nice, but I like having a clean car. So for people who think like, oh, my car isn't nice enough to get detailed, do you have any like words of encouragement or advice? Or
Yeah. It's just like if you have, you don't have to have expensive clothes, but it is nice to have clean clothes and ones that are like, pressed or look nice and then like don't have wrinkles in it. And you can make yourself and your appearance look better just from simple changes like that. As far as having like a nicer car and then spending the money to detail it, well, regular cars are very nice and you want them to stay nice to keep their value and to look good. And it kind of is just like another accessory to a human and like how they carry themselves. And like, there's an image part of it that a lot of people like. It's like, my car is always clean. It's always look nice. I look like I take care of myself and I take pride in how I look. It's the same thing whether you have a Subaru or a Porsche. Like it's the same thing.
yeah, I know just from knowing you for years, your car is the cleanest car I've ever been in, even before you had a detail company versus mine is always the dirtiest car. And I think there is, you've probably never experienced this anxiety of someone saying, "Hi, can you give me a ride somewhere?" And you go, "Absolutely fucking not." Like, my car is so dirty.
Someone
Like,
tries to get in and you're pushing all the stuff in the back. Hold on,
yeah,
hold on.
it's
Just
like,
moving
no,
all your crap.
I've made up so many excuses. Like, oh no, I have stuff in my seats. Sorry, I
Yeah.
don't have a front seat. My car's. I walk to work today, but no, I think that's huge. Is like it definitely just makes you feel a little bit better about yourself in a weird way you probably wouldn't expect.
There's like a psychosis to it. It's when your car is clean, you actually feel better about your car too. Um, there has been people like they were getting their car prepped, like, oh, maybe I'm gonna sell it or something like that. Then they really take time doing a personal detail or getting it detailed, and they just think, man, this car's not that bad, like everything's clean in here, the material isn't all marred up, and like there isn't really that much permanent damage. This is not bad. And then like it kind of gives you a better idea, like, it's a nicer place to be, it's more calm. Same thing going into a bedroom with clothes all over the place. It's like harder to go to bed than if it's like neat and tidy, the floors are vacuumed, the bed was made before you got in it. It just makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, man, I'm a little more at ease because I know I've checked a few boxes for my day.
Yeah, and on the note of like maintaining value, I think that's something people don't think about. Is like, I feel like a lot of people don't have the foresight of like, when are you going to get rid of what's your next car and what's your trading value going to be? Are you going to sell it? So on top of just like keeping rust at bay and keeping your car clean and stains free, what are some of those services that you guys offer to really dramatically like increase likelihood that the car retains its value over time?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the paint system goes, like ceramic coatings are awesome. They've gotten so much better in the past 10 years. They're more resilient overall with chemical use and stuff. What they end up doing is like stopping the paint from getting etched or corrosion and such. So when the paint looks better, the car is just going to be a better value. It will sell better. And it's people like shiny things. Um, it's just crazy how much that can matter because like we deal with like some auction vehicles and stuff that we do for dealerships. And when they're hammered and stuff, like when they roll into our shop, we're like, everyone's gonna think this is a piece of crap. Like no one's gonna want to buy this, especially with a dirty interior too. If there's like chicken nuggets and fries under the seats and stuff like that, when we find and we blow it out. If a customer were to like find that car in its original shape, they probably would never buy it. It just looks gross. Like all the built up like dead skin cells over the the steering wheel and stuff. It's all gross. And you take that stuff out and you reset it, and then it's like these people like, man, someone really took care of this car. Like, they cared about it. And that if like the body's in good shape, the paint's in good shape, the interior's in good shape, you're like, oh, this person like changed their oil on time. They, did their regular services for their transmission and stuff, and they probably replaced their brakes on time. And it overall rolls into the car that it was taken care of. Like there's this whole adage that everyone wants, like that car that like an old couple drove to church on Sunday. It's because if you've met like a lot of older people, they care about their possessions. They usually take really good care of their possessions, and it's like a pride thing to them. So that's why everyone wants to buy that vehicle that like a little like old person drove really nice, barely exceeded the speed limit, was really nice, the engine, changed their oil every like, 3,000 to 5,000 miles, depending on what it is. That's what people like strive after. And I think that's a big important part. And then like when you're talking interior, like services that we provide that like help your interiors, like this interior ceramic coating. So people have seen like Scotchgard and stuff like that. Like on a material like this, if you put Scotchgard on it, it now has a protective barrier, so water and stuff doesn't absorb into the fabric or stains don't happen. They sit on top, and then you can wipe them off. You can clean them easy. We have a ceramic coating that can last over a year for all interior surfaces, carpet, upholstery like this, your leather, your screens, your plastic, your vinyl, whatever. All that stuff just helps it not get stained up as easy and just makes it easier to clean. Once again, that's all just about retaining value, especially if it's still lasting. When you sold the car with that stuff on it and a customer goes to clean it when after 6 months they've had it, I'm like, man, this thing cleans up really nice. Like, it's just easier. There's so many things. It's like staying on top of maintenance cleaning is huge. Just like not letting things set in. Stains are terrible. Like there's some stains that we will never get out. You have to replace the material to actually get it out.
Yeah, I think if you aren't an old couple driving your car only to church, you can give the appearance that maybe you were and how well you
right
from the onset. Like I know I bought my car the same day, very like within a day or two, I was at your shop getting ceramic coated and PPF'd. And I feel like that just sets you up for success in the best way possible. Now, I know the difference. So what's the difference between like a ceramic coating and PPF, and how do they work together? Because I did both.
Yeah. Almost everyone gets ceramic coating on top of their PPF now. If you're going to go with PPF, you're going to do that. But to get down to like what their purpose is. So your paint protection film is just that. It's a film that can be up to 10 mils thick. Most of them are 8 mils. To give you a good idea, your paint system is about 6 to 7 mils. It's even thicker than your full paint system. That means primer, your clear, your go primer, color, clear. So those 6 to 7 mils. This is 8 mils thick. It's the only thing that's really going to stop scratches and stone chips. And then a lot of them regenerate with the heat of the sun now with some small marring. So these products can last 10 years depending on how the vehicle's treated, and look great on your car. And it exaggerates like the color and just makes it look glossier and deeper. And it's the product that anyone who has a Porsche, every Porsche I've ever touched has some PPF on it. It's because like people who really value things get PPF. If you're going to keep them long term, they get PPF. Now, in lieu of that, or the other thing is ceramic coating. Ceramic coating is a ease of maintenance product, and it has like this super glossy appearance generally, depending on the finish of the vehicle, and it caps that off, protects it from your daily elements, bug guts, bird bombs, stuff like that, acidic, tree sap, leaves. It's a maintenance product first, appearance product second. So like it does improve the appearance, and then you get those nice tight water beads. So that just means like stuff sheds off it easier, doesn't stick to it. And when you use them in combination, you put the PPF down wherever you're going to apply it. Some people do what they call a front clip, front bumper, hood, mirrors. That's like your typical front clip, and then like your headlights. You put the coating over that, and then all over the rest of the car. It gives it similar hydrophobic, so it looks uniformed. And once again, it's protecting the paint protection film itself from getting all that like, staining and etching and anything like that. So in combination, it's the best defense if you use PPF and then you put a coating on top of that.
Yeah, I think too with PPF, when I first when you explained it to me, I was like, I just think of like the old bras that people put on their
Yeah.
cars, and it's really not that noticeable at all. It really isn't noticeable. I'm sure on
If
different
done
colors it
right.
is, and if done right.
If done right, it is not noticeable if people tuck edges, if they do clean cut lines. Like I would challenge you like to go out and look at my hood and tell me there's PPF on there. There's no seams, there's no edges. So you won't know until you open the hood and you see that it's tucked around the edges. Um, PPF is a very hard thing to install. It's one of the only things I really tell customers. It's not DIY. There's no people out there doing their own paint protection film, at least in like harder panels like your front bumper, mirrors and stuff, because it's something that's actually like should be done in a cleaner environment. You have to have some skill and knowledge of like how it moves and how to articulate the film without getting tear lines and like adhesive stretch lines and stuff. It can be really hard to install. Like I've done it over a year now, and it still can be hard to install.
Like a Macan hood.
Porsche Macan hood is the worst hood I've ever done. I probably won't do Porsche Macans ever again. They require a bigger roll because they're a big hood. And this is like certain Macans. Now Macan went electric, so they don't even have the same headlight design that they used to. But you'd have your fender and your hood is one freaking piece that lifted up over the front of the car, and the headlights stick out through it. So it's a 72-inch roll by, I don't know, like 100 inches long the other way that you have to cut it. So right there is like a $400 sheet of material that you have to stretch in just the right way to get it to sit right without, lift lines or stretch lines, I'm sorry, and any kind of weirdness to it without getting contaminants in the dead center of it because you can't retrieve them when they're in the dead center after you put it down and squeegee it. And then it has to stretch over these weird edges and then pull at the end and flip in and then adhere to the paint. It's just a too much stretch. And I've even talked to like my trainer who's been in the game for like 10 plus years, who's very good, well known. He would tell me after I called him, because this is the second vehicle I've ever got doing PPF, of course. There's this bad luck of the draw. He told me that he will deny Porsche Macan jobs if like they're kind of busy. It's like it's not worth the headache kind of thing. So hard to learn on.
Yeah, for sure. Um, kind of switching gears, kind of like when I talked about my audience is a lot of video agency owners and marketing, video professionals, things like that. And I want to talk about what actual challenges and things business owners need. So I feel like a lot of us, especially when we're starting, is like we're gonna make video, we're gonna make something super dope, and it's gonna get you a bunch of views on Instagram, which isn't necessarily what everybody needs. So what challenges or what unforeseen challenges have you seen while scaling your business or growing your business? Maybe beyond just getting more leads to the door.
Are you talking about in reference to video?
Just in general. So what challenges, then it's our job as video professionals to hear those challenges and come up with creative solutions to help you with those challenges. So maybe it's hiring, it's training. Maybe,
Okay.
what challenges in terms of growing your business that maybe you didn't think you were going to have? Not necessarily just marketing.
Yeah. I mean, well, the first challenge, like I would say, is like getting people to trust you because you're working on generally their second most expensive possession they have. So like they have to trust you with that. And especially starting like how we did, I didn't have a name out there in any local community. No one knew me for car stuff. So like I had to kind of prove myself from the ground up. And that takes time. And pictures and videos and all that really good media does help you. And especially like a lot of detailers like to show that they clean like high-end cars. And there is like relevance to that. Like, oh, someone trusts that guy with a Ferrari, the Rolls Royce or something. But at the end of the day, when I talk to customers, sometimes it's even more. They just want to make sure that like, they can't see their car being in there. Like, oh, he only works on high end stuff.
Right.
So this is kind of a funny thing that I learned is like you want to have a lot of normal cars in there too that you worked on that you make nice because it's more relevant to more people. Like, oh, like this guy works on Ferraris all day. Like he's gonna touch my Subaru. Like
He's gonna
would he
make fun of
care?
me. Yeah.
Well, yeah, would he care to do it? Like it's not exciting for him, or like is he charging that much because he's only doing Ferraris and stuff? Am I paying too much to have my Subaru done?
Mhm.
So like that's one thing that building yourself up to be trusted and then like navigating that what you assume people want to see and what people actually want to see is kind of weird.
Mhm.
Like it's not the same thing. And then you can think as like, oh, I'm acting as a customer. I'm thinking in the customer's eyes. I'm not a customer because like I would literally do this stuff myself. So I'm not really my target demo in that
Mhm.
sense, you know?
Yeah.
That's one thing that weird to wrap your head around.
Yeah. Is trying to remove yourself from the profession completely it's kind of hard to see like what is the actual customer really want to see
Yeah.
versus what
You
do we
think
think
you
is
could think as
cool.
a customer, but you really can't because chances are they're not like you. If they were like you, they would be detailing their own car, in my example.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people no one cares about what you do as much as you do.
Hmm.
And if they would, they'd be doing it themselves. So it's your job to get them to care about it enough to just have you do it for them. But I think what you explained is like that's something that I feel like everybody goes through. It's like how do we get people to trust us when starting our business? How do we do get more qualified leads in? And then I have to imagine kind of you were in here the other day in the studio doing some FAQ videos because now I feel like you're at a point where you just need to create some systems in the business and SOPs and be able to educate customers consistently without you having to be the one to do it and also train your employees. So how has that process been of like, okay, we have employees now, we need consistency in the business in case Andy's not there.
Yeah. I mean, I would love my employees to answer questions that customers have the exact same way that I would. And the best way to do that is have them reference a video and show like how I answer things because at this point, how I've built the business, like there's a lot of customers that are looking like, hey, where's Andy? Like, I want to talk to Andy. I know he owns it and I talked to him last time, whatever. Trying to remove myself from that is the most important thing because I want people to want to go to the company. I want them to go to Loop, not to Andy. It's not like I don't want to be the face of the company. I just want the company to work in a certain way that has worked for us in the past, kind of thing, to get people to trust us, but trust us as a company fully and not just me.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, in a progression, you run a company and you remove yourself from like the day-to-day operation to work on bigger picture things, expansions, and generate more revenue and things.
Yeah,
But
and I think kind of with the videos we were working on will help you put it on a website or social, have people who are asking these questions, they see it themselves. But also you can have your employees like you need to know these answers for things.
yeah,
And if they get asked a question they don't know, they have the resource to go get it.
right.
So I think there's like a twofold thing with FAQ videos, but there's also internal videos you can make just like here's here's how we do things here. And that way if you are completely removed and you hire a new employee and you have a manager, you don't have to worry about if the manager's having a good day or not. And or they forgot to say something. And you can always say like one of my favorite things of internal videos is you never have to worry about someone saying no one told me that and like no
Yeah,
we did it's in a
correct.
video.
And yeah, and you hold them responsible to watch it and then kind of quiz them on it.
Mm-hmm.
I quiz my team every now and then. Hey, why would I want a ceramic coating? Why do I want paint protection film? Why do I want ceramic window tint? Just to see what like comes off on the top of their head. And a lot of times like it's a slow response because I think they're trying to appease me with the exact same way that I did it. I don't want it to be the exact same way. Be your own person,
Mm-hmm.
but know these benefits and why people like this stuff and why they buy this stuff. Because there's tons of shops out there that make over $1 million in revenue every year, and they're just really good at obviously giving the customer exactly what they want, explaining what they want, and then a lot of detailing is repeat business. It's customers come back to you. Customers aren't gonna come back to you unless you like impress them every time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
and then having video references, it just makes like everything uniformed. Like your company has this identity, they follow that identity. Customers can relate to that. Like, oh, this is what that company stands for, and I like that.
Yeah, and I feel like at a certain point if you're able to get to a point where you can invest in high quality video, customers pick up on that. Even if they don't watch them, they go, wow, they have the resources to do this. They care about investing in the information from me. And if they're making that much money to pay for things like video, they must be doing enough cars to be
Right.
pretty good at it.
Just like you shot our commercial that was on Channel 4 for 2 years. And that was only really focused on mobile. But a lot of customers called us, and like I would get people walking in, hey, I saw you in the commercial and stuff. That gave a little bit of authority right there. Like, hey, they must be doing something right if they have a commercial, if they can afford to do a TV commercial.
Right.
And that helped us a lot. And it also hit a weird demo that I'd never even thought about, ones that aren't online. So 60 plus people that generally just don't care to be on Facebook, Instagram, or even Google stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like literally say, I don't do computers. And when I take email addresses to set up their appointment, they don't have one for me. That's like literally how these people operate. And they're almost an untouched market because, first of all, they didn't know mobile detailing existed. It's not a big thing in New York as it is in California, Texas, Florida, Arizona, stuff like that, warmer states, because they can do it all year round. So I was introducing the idea of mobile detailing, and then they have so many questions. They're like, "Oh yeah, my hose is over here, and then my power hookup, like you guys can hook up here." It's like, no, we have all that with us. We have a generator, we have a water tank. That's all on us. We want to be able to detail out in a parking lot with nothing around us. That's like totally self-sufficient. So your video that you shot for us for that commercial helped greatly. It explained things and why you'd want us. It was like a mother, busy, doesn't have time to really detail her car, have her car detailed, wanting even to drop it off somewhere, because that is a lot of people. People just want convenience. Us doing it in their driveway where they can even, like, watch over us if it's like a car that they highly value, they want to make sure it's protected and stuff. They can watch us detail if they want. But then they can get stuff done at their house at the same time. And then, we can do the same thing at their workplace while they're working. It's just convenience is everything, That's the value proposition for the mobile. Is it harder than shop detailing? Hell yeah.
Yeah. I think the TV aspect is something that a lot of video people probably don't think about too much, of like, we're just thinking Instagram, TikTok, like, which there is a lot of value there. Yeah, it's expensive to run. But a lot of people don't even think about that demographic, especially for like something like detailing, of like the old people who are driving their car to church every Sunday. They want it clean. They want it to look really nice. So how do we tap into that?
They also have like more disposable income. A lot of these people, like, they are in the different generation where some of them own multiple houses and stuff and have multiple cars. And they have like, their fun car, and then they have their daily driver, and their wife has a car or something like that. There's a lot of that out there, and there's just that whole thing that I never even considered. These people do not do the internet, but they watch TV.
Yeah. So if someone, say if someone like myself was coming to you to pitch you like some video services, what things would you be listening for that would make someone stand out, or maybe make you think, okay, this person is worth giving a shot?
I want to hear that they have a vision and understand what the company is about, because for detailing, it's a lot about image, of course, clean car, inside and out. I want them to personify that with their video in a short amount of time. Like, it got to be super efficient cuts, because let's be real. People don't really watch long form videos, or don't want to watch long form videos about a company. They'd want like quick hitters, stuff they can post on Instagram, Facebook. So it would be like, tell a story in 20 seconds to me, with just quick clips of something getting done, the final job, a beautiful car that's like shiny and clean and stuff. And that's kind of what I would want from them. And I want unique shot ideas, because there's so much out there. Like, Instagram is almost getting tiring with like seeing the same kind of videos over and over and over again.
Yeah, I will say on that point, we see a lot of the same videos because that's what we're following. Right. Where our clients aren't necessarily going to be following all these detailers and stuff.
Correct.
So that is something just to think about.
Yeah,
I
that's 100% it, because I watch way too much of this content because I'm in the industry. Yep. And same for you.
This is boring as hell. I've seen this. Whereas like, the client probably hasn't seen it much. But I think there is, you want to keep things fresh in general. And you don't want to be just chasing trends. You want to kind of be that curve. That way,
trendsetter. So
people can follow you. Like, oh, I saw that on Instagram. But is there any value to someone saying, hey, I want to help you with your social strategy, but also I want to maybe build a package where we can create 1 or 2 internal videos for you a month, or those asset type videos? Would that be something that would make sense to you as a business owner?
Yeah, because like the FAQ video we shot was like an hour of our time, more for you for editing, but I'm going to be able to make like 20 clips out of it. And that's what's awesome, is like I take it, it's edited, it has closed caption on it, and now that's marketing material that I can put on my website, my Instagram, my Facebook, and it has lasting power because it's like general answers. It's not anything like super specific and time sensitive. So
and you can make it part of your training, like your onboarding.
I mean, that's just it. Like, there's tons of things that I reference videos to some of my team. Like, hey, I have a playlist actually on YouTube. It's just the Loop Detailing playlist. I send it to my team. It's like, when you get a chance, you have downtime, you're all car people, watch these videos. I find them interesting. There's a lot of good information in there, stuff I want you to actually practice when we're at work working on some of our like test vehicles and stuff. Like, try some of these things out, because like, in no way should we reinventing the wheel. People have already kind of come up with good systems and procedures. So like, having a reference point of like how I want them to do it, because I don't take all advice from one person, one YouTube channel, whatever. I take bits and pieces from everyone because that's how I like to do it. So I still have a unique way of doing our systems and like how our standard operating procedures go. So making videos and stuff like that for the team would be way easier because no one wants to read a piece of paper on the steps.
Yeah.
Like they want at least a visual demonstration once and then maybe have like a reference sheet after.
And then some of those can even be like, I know we made that ceramic coating video where it really wasn't made to be posted online. It was for your website, but it's something that's educational for employee and you have it on the website. So
Yeah.
people watch, hopefully they go to your website, they watch the video, they go, these people know what they're talking about. I'm educated on the process. By the time they're calling you, they're just have their credit card out. They're not trying to like kick tires forever.
That's what the biggest thing with videos and my website and that everyone should be striving for. As we were talking about earlier, before we even started the podcast, you want your leads qualified before they even call you. You want them to call you and ask when you're available. You don't, I mean, you obviously will answer questions about their specific case, but you want it to be a situation where you've pre-qualified, answered their questions in a video for them to watch and then reference again and again if they have questions like, oh yeah, you did answer that in the video. And one good example is that video we did for ceramic coating on my webpage. I've had at least one customer tell me they specifically came to us because of that video because no one else has explained the process to them. And that's what we did. We did like a 4-step process on this is how we ceramic coat your vehicle.
Yeah. I think a lot of video agency owners, we always think about that very top of funnel content, which is super important. That's the consistent social media clips to get people in to know who you are. But then we often forget about, okay, well, if we're getting leads, how are we going to help you convert those leads and be qualified leads? And I think that's something that a lot of people should think about, especially if they're going to say maybe go to their local detailer, say, hey, we want to make you a social strategy, maybe 8 to 12 videos a month. You can post twice or 3 times a week. But also we want to create videos for your website or your back end that will help you convert customers and maybe train your employees. I think that'd be a really solid package. To that point, do you think, this is just me doing like a thought experiment, because my goal is to get every videographer to $10,000 a month. I think that it sounds like a lot. It is a lot of money, but it's super doable if you just come up with $1,000 package and sell to 10 people. It's
digestible.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but if I were to come to you and say, hey, I want to meet up with you once a month, we're going to come to your shop. Maybe we'll do some of those questions that we did before. If you have any cleaning going on or details going on, we'll do 8 videos a month for your social strategy. Maybe we'll do 2 FAQ type videos or internal videos or process type video a month. Would that be worth like $1,000 a month, do you think?
I would say, yeah. Bigger companies I know, once again, I'm going to relate everything to detailing. I actually have someone on board that does their detailing videos and promotions and their ads. It's generally like their one marketing person kind of does it all. The smaller companies benefit from that so much by the authority boost of having it. It's like, even if you give some customers like a smaller contract, like, hey, let's try this for the first month, $1,000. If you don't see the results that you want, we can move on. That's fine. There's so much value into it. And the fact that like we work together for the life of the company right now, it's made my life a lot easier in so many ways, just having videos to reference and to having like a presence there and people being able to get comfortable with the brand just by watching the videos and like, oh, this is what they're about. Because like, let's face it, like I'm so busy that sometimes I can't post on Instagram in a day. So having someone actually have the material, shooting it, making it look nice, now providing captions because you realize how many people do not have the sound on and they don't read your descriptions. They don't read your Instagram descriptions. Facebook's a little different since it's above the thing. It's kind of easier to breeze. But all that stuff is so important. And I see all this value in it, especially in a company that's trying to scale. If you're fine, you have your clients, you have your regular clients that's coming in and that's all you can take because you're working out of your garage or something like that. I get it. Maybe that's it. Maybe you don't need anything more. But literally any big company that's of any value in any industry has videos explaining who they are, how they do what they do, and why they are different, like
on a consistent basis too.
Yes. And that's just it. You can't stop making content. Like if I all of a sudden stop posting Instagram, people would think that we closed. It's funny because like I've had that thought process too, where I would be looking at a local company that I follow, like, man, they haven't posted in like 3 months. I wonder if they're still actually around. And it's been to the point where like I have called a company just to see if someone answered the phone to see if they're still doing stuff. And they were still open, but they literally hadn't posted in 3 months. So I'm like, oh, maybe this company closed.
Yeah.
And it's because they didn't have any videos coming out anymore, or they didn't do any kind of post for it. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think if people focused, if they want to get into I want to work with automotive detailers in my area as a videographer, coming up with a package at $1,000 a month to give a consistent content, some conversion content like the process videos, things like that, or training videos, and they find the sweet spot of the size of company. Don't go to your giant companies. Don't go to your people in the garage. So you probably can't afford it. These people don't need it. But there's this middle ground where
yeah,
people are trying to scale and
2 to 3 years in
they want to look
building.
better than the bigger guys. Because if you have those bigger guys have a 23-year-old niece of someone who's just
It's
so
always a
good
relative.
at social media, but
Yeah.
they honestly don't know what they're doing. And when it
No,
comes to,
they just post a lot.
they know how to use the platforms.
Right.
That's not good enough to grow your business and establish yourself as an actual authority. That's why you just pay the professional to do it. And that way you can just stay good at what you're good at, which is running your business and delivering to your customers. You don't have to learn how to do video. I think it's just a lot of people have a limiting belief that spending that $1,000, $1,500 a month isn't worth it, versus like think of all the time you're saving and the better you're going to look by just doing it. Give it time and consistency, you're going to have those results and eventually make more money than $1,500 a month that you're spending, or $1,000 a month.
Man, videos last forever too. Like you post on YouTube and then you make like shorts or something like that. That video could still get hits 5 years from now. And it could all of a sudden trend out of nowhere because you did a topic that's unique or something like that. Um, it's crazy because like I thought the Instagram part and Facebook part, whatever, like just our face promotion wasn't going to be a big part of it. I thought everything was going to be like, getting a few customers in the door, getting them to use Google and such, and then we're off. And people just talk about us.
Yeah.
Word of mouth can travel fast, but in a business, like most people maybe will talk about your services to someone else, maybe like, at most 10 different people. And that sometimes like they're not promoting you anything special, but oh, they did this. They detailed my car, something like that. They did a great job detailing my car, whatever. Like they could have mentioned your name once. They could have mispronounced your name. It's Loop Detailing, not Lupe. And then it like kind of is like in and out of their head. That's why like people still have business cards, because you thought we were like business cards would be dead by now. They're not.
Right.
Because people need that reference point, because like, oh, what was that freaking company's name that did that? And then it dies after that. It's a fleeting thought, and you're not capitalizing on it. So there's so much to this, man.
Yeah, and I mean, on that point of word of mouth too, if someone might mention you to their friend, where do they go after that? No one's gonna be like, oh, my friend told me to go get my card. They're not just gonna pull right in. They're gonna go look you up, and that's where your social presence really kind of takes over. Even if you told me to go watch a movie right now, you're one of my best friends, I'm probably gonna watch a preview still.
No.
So
if you send me a YouTube video, you have to kind of preface it. Why am I watching this? Because I'm not. If it's half an hour long, I don't have that time. Like,
yeah, but you need it. You're gonna research it a little bit, even if it's coming from the highest recommendation, and people are doing the same with your business. So you got to be there consistently and valuably, and not just be selling all the time. That's why I think it's important to be answering questions, giving away some free information that maybe, hey, it's here. If you're gonna wash your car or wax your car, stay out of the sun. I remember we made one of those.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that was like what was that? That was the first year we made just like quick hitter videos.
And it's like, here's how to get bug guts off your car. And it's like being there consistently and giving away value. People are like, well, if they're giving me this stuff for free, they really have my best interests in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. When there's no obligation to it. And if they're like an authority on something, like, this person told me how to appropriately clean wheels. Like they showed me a video of it. All right, I could probably trust this guy to clean my freaking wheels if he made a video about it.
Right.
Like, he's at least looked into it or done it enough times where he's found a method that works for them.
If he's showing other people how to do it, he probably should hopefully know how to do it.
Not everyone does. And to be honest, like some of those earlier videos, like I'm sure I've changed my method since then, because that's kind of a part of it. I never stop learning. I always try to progress and learn new methods. I try everything out on my personal vehicle, and then it goes to customer vehicles if I like it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Andy, thank you for being the best man at my wedding
Yeah, all
and
right.
for finally coming. It's funny that we've never had like this conversation, like
No.
running our businesses kind of congruently. One last question. Who'd you vote for? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Let people know how they can find you, and if they need their car detailed in Buffalo, what they should do to get a hold of you.
Yeah. So first stop is just loopdetailing.com. Links to our Instagram. You can check us out on Facebook. Really, everything can be scheduled online, which is great now. If you have questions, obviously, there's a multiple ways to contact us. So if you don't want to just schedule it and go, you can hit us up on the little chat box that's actually pop up on our website in the bottom right corner. You can email us. Email me at andy@loopdetailing.com. Give us a call at our main phone line. There's going to be questions that come up. Don't hesitate to call. Just there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of things that can be confusing, especially like in the coding industries and stuff, because there's like 50,000 freaking options now. So like if you want to talk about that, I'll talk about ceramic coatings all day long. I love the stuff. So
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on.
thanks for having me, bud.